think all of us know where we were on August 29th of 2005. How many of us remember where we were on August 25th of 2005?
Water knows no boundaries. Our sole focus and attention is on flood protection. We're a 9-member board. 5 of our members are engineers. One of those is the former president of the American Society of Civil Engineers. Underneath our board are our 3 districts that are in operation. Working at those 3 districts are 5 engineers, one of whom is Bob Turner, who is on the National Levee Safety Committee. He also serves as our regional director. We govern 5 levee districts: Lake Bourne Basin Levee District, the Orleans Levee District, the East Jefferson Levee District, and although they're not in operation, the Tangipahoa and St. Tammany Levee Districts. All levee districts which ring Lake Pontchartrain, giving us truly a regional focus. Here's a picture of our jurisdictional area. We believe strongly that we have to act regionally. We have to seek a higher level of protection from hopefully preventing this type of disaster from ever occurring again. Thank you.
One of the big changes in my mind with the reconstituted Flood Protection Authority is the fact that we have been tasked with oversight responsibility. In the past, the levee boards were made up of individuals whose background was other than engineering. And so when a set of plans or proposal was spread out in front of them, it was pretty much a rubber stamp. Our oversight responsibility has put a different burden, and we have had some very frank, open, and brisk discussions with the Corps of Engineers on many proposals. It hasn't been a rubber stamp, far from it. They've had to really go into detail and explanation, probably to an extent more than they would like to have done, but at the same time I think we're getting a better quality product because of the fact that so much oversight is being exercised. Then also we have the ability to demand peer review, which means that we are able to contract with engineering firms that don't have a dog in the fight to come in and review the plans and specifications, proposals for their appropriateness and for whether or not they're going to accomplish the tasks that they are meant to.
Back years ago when I was living my quiet little life down in St. Bernard Parish, I really had no idea what the levee districts do. But let me just give you an idea. We do a lot of vegetation management. That includes, cutting the grass, trimming back the trees, spraying Roundup in various places, doing weed eating work. But we also do things like embankment repair. I mean, we have some problems around here with hogs that tear up levees, and occasionally we have to get out there and fix those levees, and we do that with bulldozers and backhoes and things like that. We also have to do structural repairs. Every now and then we'll have a problem where a train will derail, just as what just recently happened, and it does a little bit of damage to the levee. Every now and then we'll have a problem where an automobile hits a floodgate, and we have to go out there and fix that. And then occasionally we'll have a situation where some large piece of equipment damages a flood wall, and we'll have to take care of that as well. But in addition to those things, we have some responsibilities, although not in all the districts, to take care of drainage channels. We also have to operate and maintain pumping stations. We have 3 water control structures that most people don't know that the levee districts have anything to do with. They call them the Bayou Bienvenue locks and the Bayou Dupree locks. Those are the 2 that are kind of known around the area. Many people think the Corps of Engineers operates that. And then we also have a sector gate at Bayou St. John. So we do a lot of mechanical repairs, a lot of mechanical preventive maintenance. And speaking of mechanical, we have a fleet of vehicles that we have to take care of and on a day-to-day basis, as well as all the heavy equipment that's used to maintain the levees.
Well, there's really only one way to restore it, and that's to use sediment that comes down the Mississippi River. People probably don't realize that all the land from Cape Girardeau, Missouri to the Gulf of Mexico. It's 35,000 square miles in 7 states. It was actually built by the deposit of sediment from the Mississippi River. And then when it poured out of the mouth of the river, once it got to where it is now, the coastal currents carried it west and built up the area as far west as Lake Charles and the Texas border. That's all from the deposit of sediment in the Mississippi River. And the way to rebuild it and strengthen and sustain it is to start using that sediment again. The problem is that we now have only about 1/3 of the sediment that used to come down the river historically that originally built the coast.
I think the hurricane protection system in this area is the best that's been. I think understanding that this isn't a parochial issue here in South Louisiana, the energy we provide to the country, the seafood we provide to the country, the maritime commerce we provide to the country, it's second to none. We're the top in those 3 areas, and just like you saw after the hurricanes of 2005 and 2008, it causes profound impacts on the entire nation. You saw gasoline prices spike nearly $1 a gallon after Hurricane Katrina and Rita. In 2008, you saw the largest gasoline price spike nationwide since the Arab oil embargo, and that's just on the energy side. You see similar issues on the maritime commerce and on the seafood, and so folks understand that this isn't just some parochial New Orleans or South Louisiana problem. This truly is a national issue. The coastal area is a national resource that deserves additional attention.
Yeah. The work is continuing. We will not have the 100-year level of storm surge risk reduction in place until next hurricane season. And that doesn't mean all the work will be complete. We'll be still finishing up projects. Some of it will be installing perimeter fencing and lighting and access roads and sidewalks and outfitting some of the control structures and buildings associated with these structures. But by next hurricane season, it will be able to handle a 100-year storm surge event. And then I know there are other efforts by some of our other federal and state and local government partners to do a better job of being stewards of the coastal zones. And in my particular case, the Lake Pontchartrain Basin, we never want the Gulf of Mexico's waves to be lapping up against the levees and flood walls that we're constructing. So the marsh and in some cases cypress forests that are out there on the outside of the line of protection are kind of key to help reduce storm surge and prevent the Gulf of Mexico from encroaching even further to where it gets right up against the levees and flood walls we're constructing.
I hope people in Louisiana understand, but I know people outside of Louisiana do not understand just how important to the national economy this area is. 18% of all the waterborne commerce in the United States moves through Louisiana waters. Pittsburgh is a port with direct access to the ocean because of the Mississippi River in New Orleans. Tulsa, Oklahoma is not thought of as a port, but it is because of the Mississippi River and its tributaries that reach up to Tulsa. If the coast continues to erode, then even the port of New Orleans itself will be threatened. So that alone would be a body blow to the national economy. You add to that, the impact on the energy industry. Not only is roughly 30% of the domestic production of oil and gas offshore Louisiana, but roughly comparable amount of refining capacity is in Louisiana. And those things are vulnerable as well. And if the coast continues to erode, it is inevitable that eventually we're going to get another storm that knocks those things out, and maybe permanently. So the national impact of this is absolutely enormous, and that is definitely one thing that the rest of the nation does not get even today.